Hello, hello, hello. Anybody want some espresso? So, today we get to talk a bit about the difference between a 5D mystic in the Enlightenment Soul Age group, 4D mystics, and other soul age groups. I don't usually prefer creating the whole differences between because some people, they think it's like what is it called? A race, which life is not. Some people also don't really take seriously to learn how to embody themselves as a life. So that whole spirituality stuff gets a bit confusing. The science stuff for some people, and I'm pseudoscience lady apparently, which is okay, because here's the part about what I love about bringing human elements, all the science stuff, all the subject matters, and then the mysticism, metaphysics, esotericism, and spirituality stuff together, because that's what smart people can do. We can bring together, but that's only when you're in the independence of the information. So you're not using it to say, this is the truth. And this is why the words Mahasamadhi, Samadhi come to mind, because any person who's in that Enlightenment Soul Age group, 5D mystic, and basically you're just not disconnected from Purusha Prakriti. So you're aware of yourself, unconditionally loving. This is part of that pure consciousness. And Prakriti is your energy, life force, your pure energy. So it's your body, so your biochemistry, which your nervous system pretty much is what gets to help with that. I mean, this is again the pseudoscience lady. So what I was trying to get to is I love when I see both spirituality guru, Sadhguru share some things, and then our lovely 5D educators, so the actual smart ones, because they're open-minded. I love academia. I have a master's. In fact, when I realized how the academic community, you didn't have all these beautiful open-minded professors, researchers. No, some were very close-minded. In fact, let me go to the example of the spirituality guru, how he shares in one of his not only interviews or speeches, but also his lovely quotes. One of them is particularly, I think I read it to you all the other day, which I loved, because yep, that's exactly how we feel, 5D mystics, when we meet people who basically do certain things because we're just trying to be polite when we don't actually become rude. And egoic, intelligent ones wonder, like, oh wow, I wonder what, right? Idiots are dead sure. Now, obviously we don't have to call them idiots, but then again, their mind is closed to information, and that's because though they identify with it. And there's a specific way our brain works also, in the left and right mode. And they tend to work one at a time unless you move into integrating your own brain. That means allowing yourself to navigate sensations, though. And before you can do that, this is the part of where unresolved trauma is very important. And a lot of basics of Human 101 that people don't know, like envy. It's an emotion that actually our ancestors had way back when. It has to have nothing to do with any stories of evil. And also that word, which is used today by everybody, but was used only once in religious institutions and philosophy. Thank you, criminal forensics university professor somewhere, some smart person who said, but I saw everybody using it, so I said I'll make a scale. And all his scale are poor human beings who definitely don't have a good psychoeducator at hand, because every one of them could have used a good psychoeducator or understood that spirituality process, and you aligning yourself with unconditional love, Purusha, and your own energy, life force. So the whole, how many people do yoga that I know, and also in certain types of communities, and they talk about Maya land. Apparently they don't know when they're in it, though, because you would know that you're in it if you fall in love with your light, and then you're like, wait a minute, I'm falling in love with myself. How am I calling myself a master or this name or anointed? That automatically means I think I'm more special than other people. I'm thinking I'm going against what I'm learning here, but maybe they don't learn that. So when you are aligned with your physical body, your energy body, your mind body, your, what is this here, inward body, which would be where you hold your values, and your heart body, love, joy, pure essence. So some of us, those 5, when you're aligned, this is and connected, you're in your wholeness, and you're in heaven in your body, and there's no dysfunction. In fact, it's a restorative embodied self, and it's an integrated brain, and it's a person who's in a physiological state of compassion, and it's also a person who can have any conversation while somebody is using the words. You can't, what was it? You cannot confuse. I'm like, haha, I'm not confusing. These are different disciplines and I'm bringing them together. Confusing would mean that somehow I'm merging or meshing. And yes, bringing them together to a mind that is only left brain means confusing them because they're identifying with the information and they're putting it only in one box because that's your left mode. It wants to put things in little boxes. But when you're working with your left and right mode, you don't need to put things into boxes because we can be with A and B who are opposite and deal with it and allow it to sit. And here's the feminine energy in a mature version with their own masculine, by the way. I can have a bunch of marbles right here and let them sit and actually connect the dots. It's called creativity for those who are fun and rainbowish and colorish and you can't do that. The teenagers, I was a teenager, I did that. I learned how to get out of it because it was annoying. I'm still very square, by the way. So the science people who explain how some science people think of science as a religion. Basically, they believe in it. In fact, they will use certain types of, it's a fact. And you're like, okay, then. You're obviously not aware that the scientific methodology keeps on exploring things and your way and your attitude aren't really going to do much for me. So when you hear guru, science, and true educators explain the same thing, which is people who continue to learn and continue to expand. So Sadhguru uses the word scientific. I don't have to use that word. I just use open-minded. And yes, open-minded to allow all pieces of information to come in, to make sense of them, not to battle them, because there's no problemo with, by the way, science being able to explain spirituality and physics, quantum physics, and psychoeducation. So the good new psychoeducation with somatics, trauma experts, people who are talking about our trauma memory being stored in our bones, our tissues, our muscles. And people also explaining how the body keeps the count, but also the mind keeps the score of the scoreboard. And really, it's a mind and a body and its embodied brain. So again, when people that are not in 5D Mystic Land or the Enlightenment Soul Age group come across somebody who is, what they're really going to start doing is questioning a bunch of things from their left mode. Because what just happened is that one of their little fragment pieces got triggered. So something that they hold on to as valuable, here's where that word karma, people love to use it. They don't know what it means. And it's not a bad thing or a good thing. It's your actions. And when you're honing in on likes and dislikes and you're actually only using your words, you can't, while having a conversation, by the way, which is an exchange of two people's opinions. So the adaptive children are trying to prove they're right. That's the reason they set up their list of, let me confirm my own opinion, which, again, to functional adults is okay. You can confirm whatever you want. And in fact, here's what we get to say. We can agree to disagree. I appreciate you sharing with me that you think two subject matters can be confused. They're not confused, but I get what you're saying because I'm bringing them together into your brain. They seem confused. They're not confused. They're not a mesh. They're two separate. They say the same thing. You're just the one who wants to keep them separate because apparently they have to be in your mind. Left brain, the adult, has no connection to the right side of the brain. However, when those frozen charge parts, which we all have, by the way, everybody has them, but nobody knows about them because they all know about yoga, but they apparently don't know about the psychoeducation stuff. So when you're doing yoga, it's a portfolio of ventral vagal nervous system toning exercises. The ventral vagal nervous system is our mammalian nervous system, and it works your cortex. Mindfulness works because you're starting to think things through and feel your sensations. You can also do mind sight, thank you, Daniel Siegel, which is you sifting your images, sensations, thoughts, feelings, and then, oh, that's right, this thing happened. It was making me pissy. Oh, there's my charge state. I don't need to be pissed off like a teenager. I'm a grown-up. I can have an actual normal conversation. Unless I'm trying to prove myself. If I am, does that mean I'm insecure? Yes, emotionally, yes. Because if you're trying to prove yourself, it means you are trying to make me believe that you exist. I can see you. Which is why when people get a functional adult, a Zen master from the Zen tradition story, and they're not here, and they begin to get into, but you can't do that. The actual people who have finally achieved. So when you finally achieve the ability to recognize, oh, wow, a lot of people are immature. They don't know how to just speak their words. They have to prove it. And they got to make it all about their story. And then they got to give you the list of why they're right. And they need to see you say, yes, I believe you. I believe you. You're true. You're everything you're saying.